Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Building and Chatting Podcast. Today, we are reviewing Red 1, or more like I'm reviewing. But yes, today we are talking about Red 1, and welcome. Alright, so let's get right on into it. So, this movie, as you know, is the movie where Santa Claus gets kidnapped, and that is it. The first part of the movie, I'm just gonna say this one part. Like, The Rock here is Santa's assistant, my main assistant, my protects. He's like Santa's bodyguard, Nick Claus's bodyguard, you know. But he is like he doesn't understand why Santa deals with all the adults. Uh, he's like Callum. It's for the kids, bro. It's for the kids, or the kids at heart. And Callum doesn't really get that, or the Rock's character doesn't really get that. But as we go through the movie, you'll see. He's hidden. He's right there by the Rock. But Chris Evans' character is a character that is like he's like a international tracker, and he tracks dangerous targets or tracks he tracks targets for people that people are looking for. Unknown to him, because he doesn't really believe in any of this stuff anymore. Um, he helps the villain find Santa Claus and kidnap Santa. So as soon as Callum and Santa get back to the North Pole, because they were doing some meet and greets, after they get back, uh, Callum goes to turn in his resignation. He says, "I can't do this anymore. There's too many naughty people, or too many people that I just, I don't know how to deal with." That's when Santa gives him the speech that, it's all for the kids. It's for the good ones, for the kids. And it comes back later, because Santa likes to bring joy to, children all over the world, right? And, but unbeknownst to them, the tracking crew is here, and they found the North Pole. And so they kidnap Santa. And there's a plot twist later, but I'm not going to get into it right now. But no one knows where Santa is. The Rock chases him through the streets of the North Pole with his like jet ski that he uses. He had like a toy jet ski, but he uses the thing on his wrist there, the enlarger, and it makes it into a real or not jet ski, into a real snow. It's not a jet ski. It's like, you know what I mean. It's like a snow mobile or something like that. I'm blanking right now. But they get away with Santa. They track down that Chris Evans was the wolf, or Chris Evans, or Jack is his character's name. But Jack uh tracked down Santa. He's like, "Dude, I had nothing to do with this, bro. I get hired to track people down. It's my job. I didn't know that I'd be kidnapping. I didn't know I'd be helping in the kidnapping of Santa Claus." But The Rock doesn't really like him. So, but the lady there next to The Rock and the polar bear, she's the like internet. She's the head of like the Christmas affairs. Like, the funniest thing about this movie is there's like a whole underground, like there's a whole like business organization for Santa, and how he does all his drops, and like coordinating with everyone in the world to make sure everyone gets Santa's gifts. It's like crazy. It's kind of funny. I really liked it. But there's like this whole organization that helps Santa, and all this. Like there's the elves, like his bodyguards, the elves there, and then there's like the workers and the elves that get the sleighs ready and stuff. It's funny. I just really like that about this movie. But you know, she puts The Rock and Jack or Callum and Jack together, and so and then they go to a beach to find out who because they say there is a informant, or there is a there's someone working with the villain, and it is a lady, but a lady, she doesn't have Santa Claus and is using his energy to make these snow globes, and she wants to turn these snow globes. She wants to deliver one to everybody on Earth. She wants to deliver them to all the naughty people on Earth and trap them inside these snow globes forever, so the naughty listers will never, like the naughty people, will never be around ever again. But so that's why they needed Santa. But they find the person that's working with, and as it's revealed here, it's Glinda, the ice witch or the ice queen, and stupidly, a Jack or Chris Evans says her name, which is this is one of the best parts of the movie, and it becomes an all-out fight between her snowman minions versus Callum and Jack. It's like crazy. The informant gets freeze, the one that gave them her name. He gets frozen by the snowman, and they don't have time to follow him out because it's like almost Christmas, and they need to get Santa back for Christmas. But so there's one suggestion that comes up. They go visit Krampus. Yes, Krampus. And you can see I'm really remembering this movie. That's how much I liked it. But they go and see Krampus. Callum's like, do not touch anything to Jack. And, Chris Evans or Jack, he's like, okay, bro, I got you. He steals gold from Krampus's treasure box and gets him thrown in jail. And the way they have to win their freedom is playing a version of the slapping game where you have to slap someone and knock them out. Or like slap their face and then you have to, one of you knocks the other out. It's called Krampus Slap. And they literally, he's like, and Jack or Chris Evans is like, hey Krampus, if the my friends here, Callum, he was saying how he could beat you and how you're shit at this game. You're terrible. He says that he could beat you, so fight him. And then, but the reason he does this is because Callum's gauntlet there that he can use to enlarge or shrink things, they took it. So the reason he did it is so he could get that gauntlet back. And as soon as they get the gauntlet back, they use the gauntlet to enlarge Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and the Rock'em Sock'em Robots start beating the hell out of everybody. I'm not joking. This movie is a funny, insane Christmas movie. I love it. It's a fun Christmas movie, and that's what all it was advertised as. It wasn't as advertised as this monumental epic, like the critics are saying, but it's just a fun Christmas movie. But after Krampus is like, he smiled, like he finds some enjoyment out of it. But then on the road, this box for Jack appears, or Chris Evans' character appears, and he was telling The Rock on this trip before they find the box that his biggest regret in life is that he pushed his son away. But he says, I pushed him away because my line of work, it's dangerous. I didn't want him to get hurt. These things can, they can, like you all did, trap me down and hurt me or do something to me. And he's like, I didn't want to take the risk at my son getting hurt or dealing with me because I just think I'm a loser. And it was so, but it's like a moment of self-reflection for him. He's like, he wants to be there for his son. And he didn't mean to tell him that, like, his son asked him at the beginning to go to his like Christmas play or like Christmas like his the Christmas show at the school, and his son says, "Well, it seems kind of boring." And then like Chris Evans was like kind of agreeing, but he didn't know that his son wanted him to go. But the reason I'm saying this is on the road in this box is one of those snow globes for Jack because he's a naughty lister. And then there is a snow globe that gets delivered to his son, Kevin. And both of them get zapped into snow globes, and they wake up and but but because they form a bond, a genuine bond, and he says, "I'm sorry" to his son, and he says, I've been terrible to you. I haven't even been there for you like I should have," and all this, and like like that family love and him admitting all his wrongs to his son. That's what free and the son admitting his wrongs or how he's felt about him, and they come together, and that breaks the snow globes and gets them out. And what that means is that it shows that they're not like naughty or they're not like bad people. They were just people that were very shut off, but they saw the true meaning because when he was with the Rock, he saw the true meaning of like friendship and to doing things this way, and having fun with people, and this experience that he had changed him for the better, and it made him open up more. And that's the thing about this movie. It has a good moral at the center of it. It is about reuniting, coming together, admitting your wrongs, saying that I wasn't right. You try to be like, "Oh, I'm doing everything right," but in the end, the thing that you really need to do is just apologize to each other and just say, we're wrong. But while they're dealing with that, um, uh, the uh, the only reason I think they call her like Lady something, so I'll just call her like the lady in the Callum or the Rock. They call Mrs. Claus and say something is we're coming to the North Pole. We think something's wrong, but they're just they said but they call Mrs. Claus before they figure something out. What is the place that could draw the most power, and where's somewhere that they could hold Santa without a beacon or a warning going off? And here's the thing. They figure out the big plot twist of this movie is the big plot twist is once they kidnap Santa, they didn't just kidnap Santa. Here it is. So they call Mrs. Claus. And she's like, "Well, I'm making him some cookies. I'm just worried. I'm making him some cookies for when he comes back." And she says, "I'm making him his macaroons, one of his favorites." And then The Rock is like, he hates macaroon cookies. He hates them. Santa absolutely hates them. So they are like, the North Pole has to be infested with all these people. And here's where the big twist comes in. When they kidnap Santa in that whole area, the reason why The Rock was hearing people get knocked out or on the comms and he was trying to get security and then they wouldn't come through sometimes. The reason why is everyone in the North Pole are all the main one, like the main security people, the polar bear, all of them. The villains have like shape-shifting devices. They're shapeshifters. They shapeshifted into the main heads to make everyone think everything was fine. But in actuality, there's just a bunch of shapeshifters and all these evil people there. So yeah, so the Rock, they find some of the shapeshifters, they punch him out, him and the lady. They find that underground like toy maker where she was like printing all the snow globes to are magically making all those snow globes, and she makes them. And the last thing they need is Santa's sleigh. They confront Glinda, and they detach the reindeer from the sleigh, so she cannot leave the North Pole. And um, it crashes, and she falls off of like the North Pole of the exit ramp to where Santa goes through the portal. The portal, like he leaves the. It's not a portal. He leaves like the cloaking device because the North Pole has a giant cloaking device where no one can come in unless authorized. And it was really good. But Chris Evans or Jack gets the reindeer knocked off of the sleigh, so they can't fly. So Glinda can't fly through the portal. And then she becomes like an evil witch hag Krampus looking thing, like an evil like witch troll monster. And she comes in there. She comes back up because the reason why, because she's the witch, so she comes back up. And then Krampus is like, as soon as The Rock and Jack are like, oh, we can fight her, Krampus comes in on his like sleigh or ship and just absolutely knocks the F out of her. He burns her with the flames on his ship. And then he helps beat her. The Rock helps beat her butt. And then they trap her inside of the snow globe. They save Santa Claus. And Christmas is saved. They start loading up the sleigh. They get all of the people that were kidnapped out, like right before they go and confront Glinda when she's trying to take the sleigh out of there. They do save like Miss Claus, the polar bear, all the security detail for Santa and all that. So they do save them all. And then they help them beat Glinda. They get back on the. They get all the presents ready. Everything's ready to go. And then Santa starts delivering the presents. But the final part of the movie, which is so good, and it relates back to the beginning of the movie. Remember how Saint Nick or Santa Claus said to Callum or The Rock, he said it's for the kids. When The Rock looks back at Jack and Kevin, he sees like Jack at first, like he sees Chris Evans, right? But then he sees how Jack looked like as a kid. And it's saying all the like people that are on the nice list or they become better people or they are good at heart. That's what Santa was saying to him. Even he says he keeps saying you can do it for the kids. We do it for the kids. But the whole time what he was saying is we do it for the actual kids, but we also do it for the kids at heart. The nice people that still deserve to have something. The people that deserve to um that have shown they can be good in their lives or maybe they make up for their mistakes. That's and then he's talks to Cal and he says, "You finally see it, don't you?" And then that's when they show the montage of Santa delivering presents across the world, and they bring Jack and Kevin up there to watch him deliver the presents. Come to the front of the sleigh and watch it. It was just such a good movie. And I saw this on Black Friday too, so it was crazy. That theater was packed. This people were wanting to see this or Moana. Like it is a good like little. It is a good family movie too, even though it's PG-13. The most there is like they say the word ass, or maybe like you're an asshole, or like maybe like one or two shits, and that's about it. It's not very like curse heavy. There's like that's they just say like that, and that's about it. Like a kid could watch this, and if you want to cover their ears once they say ass or asshole, you can do that. But besides that, it was a great movie. People were laughing, having fun. So that's when I really was like, yeah, I love this movie. But when we sat down and I began watching it, I was like, I love this. At the beginning of the movie, I was like, I love this movie. It's so good. It's really good. But I was like, why do I think that? And then having a whole audience cheering and clapping and laughing at some of these scenes, are just being like so happy in this theater, just laughing their butts off at this movie. That was what made me even like it was adults and kids, like everyone was laughing and having fun. And that's when I finally was like, this is why I'm enjoying this movie. It's good, it's funny, it's a good experience. And because it's so weird for me to like a movie at the beginning. I'm like, why am I liking it so early? They usually have to drag you in, but no, it's just that good. It keeps you invested, and that is what a movie should do, and especially a newer franchise type movie, because you know they want to make multiple of these. But that's the thing. It's just a good movie. It doesn't. The thing I hate about like critics and stuff or some reviewers is they're like they're like this isn't on par as some of the other big movies that have come out in the last decade. Well, I'm okay. I'm sorry. It's not going to be a Moana 2. It's not going to be a Coco or a. It's not going to be Wally. It's like it's not here to be like a big tempo. Well, not it's. They want it to be a big tempo movie. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not a movie that takes it so seriously like those films. Moana and all these other movies, like yeah, they're musicals. You know, it's not as serious either. But the thing is at Disney, and even though there's humor in Pixar and Disney, they take themselves seriously when they need to be taken seriously. I mean, think about it. When the toys almost died, that whole movie was serious. It was about growing up, respecting, and being like, we're growing up. We can change. This movie had a good message. It was about family, and it was just a fun Christmas movie. And that's all it had to be. That's all it was. It's a good family movie. And it is the whole premise is about finding new family or reuniting with old family or reuniting with the family you have if you've been distant, and also finding new family. That was the point of the movie. It was about family, and that was the message. It was a fun family movie that was about family. I mean, but it was just I loved it, and how that there is all of this backlash from critics that this is like the worst movie ever. It's not. Is it the best movie? No, and that's why I won't give it like that's why I won't give it maybe a 10. But I am going to give it a high score. Um, did I enjoy this movie like all through it? Yeah, I did. But I think what this movie really deserves, and because this is a good movie, but I think what because this was the first in a franchise, right? They want to make this a franchise. For me, this is the best. And because you're still setting up characters, you're still setting up things. I wish more of J.K. Simmons' Santa was in it, but I know the whole point of it is them finding Santa and saving Santa. But gosh, J.K. Simmons was good. I wish there was more J.K. Simmons. He was in it a lot. He was in it for a good amount, but it's just I wish there was more. But when it's about like Santa, like they show him a lot, but I wish there was more. This version of Santa is funny. He makes jokes. He's like a guy like you could sit down and have like a drink with. Like that, this Santa is just cool. He is a cool Santa. And J.K. Simmons is great. I love J. Jonah Jameson as Santa. I want more of that. I want J. Jonah as Santa. I want Red One too. I do want that. But if I feel like maybe there should have been a little more stuff of characters that maybe expand more on these, especially The Rock. But maybe that's for a Red One too. Maybe they'll show his backstory. But I want to know how he got to be with Santa. I would love to see that, like how, or maybe how the Red One organization started, like a prequel movie. That'd be cool. Like how did they start all this? How did the North Pole become like this giant like city megapolis? It looks like how did it become this giant like lit up city and all this? Like it's very technologically advanced. Like how did it become this way? And so I'd love to see that stuff. But because this is the first, and they probably would set up all that stuff later in other movies. That's the reason why I have to give this a 9 out of 10, because there were more things I wanted to know about this world. But you know what? That's what a movie is supposed to do: intrigue you in the world, want you to know why these things happen, like why are these characters important and everything. And well, I want to see more, and that's why this is a 9 out of 10, because I wish there was more. But yeah, I wish there was a little more. But the story they told, and I get it. Uh, with this story, they were setting up the world, setting up the North Pole, and then when Santa gets kidnapped, you can't really explore it as good because you have to go in on the buddy cop drama. No, but it was fun. It was a really fun movie. I give this movie a 9 out of 10. Really good. Thank you all for watching my review of Red One, and me and everyone on the Building and Chatting podcast will talk to you tomorrow, because yes, I know this is a premiere, but tomorrow is Friday and we will be doing more building streams for the weekend. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Bounty Hunter Network, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.